Hello, Mr. Bhushan.
Yeah, can you listen?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you clearly. So, right, so the first question that is coming up is from Dr. Mani Prakash. He's asking that in this time of pandemic, workers being financially down, how to make them understand the importance of safety. Another aspect is that they will not be trained or they will be new. So, how to achieve this with behavioral change in them?
Okay, first of all, workers definitely will be more worried in terms of finance. You have to give a minimum financial security to those people. You definitely need to understand that without financial security, it will be very hard to keep them motivated for the long-term working. In terms of the safety, you have to show by doing by yourself. As I was explaining during my chat also, that during the time when you are doing it, when you are doing sanitization at the site, sanitation at the site, you also have to train people. uh, Bringing people together and saying that this group will work together, they will go together, and if their labor camp is available, they will also have the staying together. Now, how why it will be done? Because then the monitoring can be little more perfect. So those type of training awareness need to be given on very frequent basis presently. I do see this will go for another 6 months. So I feel that it will completely, if you keep on giving more frequent thing, it will help the organization.
So, with more and more of supervision, this will be implemented.
Yeah, I am not expecting or telling that supervision should be more. I feel that more training to the people, make them understand that why we are forming small groups. Some people who are working isolated, for example, crane operator or some painter, those people are okay. They are isolated. They can have proper mask, they can have goggles and all those things. But the places where 3 or 4 people are working, they need to be together for long term, so
Mm.
that in case if any incident of COVID happens, they all can be monitored together, rather than they are affecting whole group or other groups are affecting them.
Right. So, next question is coming up from Mr. Vikas Singh. He wants to know how we can update ourselves with new technologies and safety.
Okay. Uh, this COVID situation will bring a lot of changes as far as construction is concerned. Maybe some changes you will not see in next 6 months, but organization at the top level have already started thinking. Uh, Use of drones, Internet of Things, virtual reality, uh, these things will coming into the picture.
Right.
So I will only request everyone to start understanding these concepts and start utilizing as much as possible you can. In our organization, we have a task force created around 4 months back, and we are actively working to implement drones in all our sites. We are implementing, the biometrics. Small things like biometric is already available in most of the construction sites in India now. But other than the biometric, you will start seeing facial recognition,
Right.
which doesn't require
Touch
the thumb
human
to be
touch.
touched with
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So those things. So understand the new concepts which are coming. Drones, utilization of drones, not only for monitoring but also for the safety purposes. Drone will get linked with the artificial intelligence. It will start observing the unsafe behavior of the people, unsafe acts at the construction site, the supply chain things, traffic movement at the site. So but as an engineer, as a safety personnel, as a site supervisor, we also understand the implications, and and ready to implement those things. So we also need to learn those things now, okay, and start telling that we need these things to be utilized.
Right. We have to move towards the no touch technology and
Yes.
start learning to use it. Next question is coming from Mr. Ayush Malhotra. He wants to know that are migrant laborers coming back? Looks like it will be all new workforce and training them will be a challenge.
See, okay, it is. There is no change as if the migrant workers are coming back. There is no change. It happens every time. After during Diwali, the workers used to go to their places, and again they used to come back. Uh,
Right.
you need to definitely have the COVID-19 aspects into the training now very clearly. The aspects of isolation, aspects of putting the mask. Telling people not to socialize too much, at least for next 1 year, I will say. You have to restrict some movement of them, not only inside, but also, provide those trainings so that they are minimum socially active, after they go to the home. They should do their minimum work so that, they are safe. In turn, their families are safe and the sites are safe. So those aspects will definitely come into the training programs. uh, Other than that, I do not see much changes. As the supervisory and the management level, we definitely need to implement a lot of new things. Training is one, but bringing new technologies like I was explaining, Internet of Things, or artificial intelligence. These things will help in long run.
Right. So, next question is from Dr. Mani Prakash. The workers are financially, physically, and psychologically down. So, how to make them understand the importance of safety? Again, I think the similar kind of a question.
Yeah, it is similar type of the question. I think, what we need to understand, at least in India, the laborers are not protected well, as a society. The governments are not giving some funds, or they are not covered financially. So first of all, we need to see that they are paid minimum wages to them. We also need to bring, empathize with them in terms of understanding their needs. Uh, there is no change whether it is COVID situation or no COVID situation. COVID situation has made them little more upfront.
Right.
So I do not see much changes. I have explained those things earlier. Empathize with them, give them continuous jobs. We will definitely have impact of COVID in terms of productivity. So those things the contractors and the owners need to keep with themselves, and make the life little more sustainable for at least more 1 year. So that they also survive. Finally, we are dependent on our laborers. uh, they are there, then that we are working. So empathy will be the better thing with the workers.
Very correct, sir. Uh, uh, all right, we have two more questions. Subrata Pal wants to know that there are many codes and practices for safety across the globe for project sites. According to you, which one is the best for implementation?
Okay, there is
Codes and
there is though there is no single meal which is called as the best meal available in the world. So uh, understand that, if it is your child is at site, okay, how will you protect? So if you can protect similar way, think, there are many rules and regulation, OSHA rule and regulation. I have implemented the rules which have come from the Shell, which is one of the, well, their rules and regulations will used to be the best one. I have seen Dow rules and regulation. BAS are very strict in their safety aspects. Whatever you wanted to implement, but on the context of safety, uh, just feel that if your child is working at the site, will he feel safe by doing the same action which you are taking for workers? If you feel safe, I think that will be good enough. You can follow any guidelines. You can follow any guidelines. uh, I think all guidelines are guidelines, okay, but how you implement it, how you tell people that, they should implement it, that is what matters more.
what a point, sir. Next thing is Mr. Anantha Krishnan. I think quantification of construction risk is very difficult and we can only rate it. I believe this is the major barrier in building a transitional safety culture. I would like to know your views on this.
Okay. Definitely, it is a little dicey area where we have to analyze the risk in terms of that, and that is why we do hazard identification risk analysis, what we call HERA, or hedge of studies. We do those type of things, and we are trying to quantify those risks so that it is interpreted same way. It definitely depends upon the people who are doing those risk assessment. uh, you can also set in your system. I am not aware which industry you belong, but in your system also you can set some rules. Now these things are evolving, that also we need. There is nothing called perfect aspect of evaluation of the risk, but you can start. You have to start at one baseline and then keep on improvising on that. We are doing evaluation. You will be surprised that in India and in China we do safety analysis of all the activity which we do. But as soon as in our organization itself, when we move to Europe, we do not do, because the laborers are so qualified there. They themselves do the risk analysis of their activity and move forward. So only for the critical activity we do that risk evaluation in Europe. But in India, China, Malaysia, all the activities are done. So you have to set a baseline and then keep improvising that, and it will come with time. There is no benchmarking by which you can say that, okay, this is quantified like this, but in your system it can be definitely quantified.
Thank you, Mr. Bhushan, for sharing this useful piece of information with us. Anyone else who would like to ask anything? And also, if you want to go live, you can just let me know in the chat area. I'll make you live and you can interact with Mr. Bhushan right here. All right, Mr. Bhushan, I don't see any further questions coming up. And I would like to inform all of you that next we are coming up with the live panel discussion, and Mr. Navendu Bhushan is part of that very panel. So, any further questions you can take up right there also. He'll be joining us live there. So, thank you, Mr. Bhushan, for being the part of this interesting session, and thank you for being on board with us. Thank you, attendees, for joining this webinar. We hope to see you in next session also.